Rules of the road. Rules of the road. So yeah, basically here, in a nutshell, right? In a nutshell, rules of the road, they are there to protect all road users, everyone who uses the road, right? So yeah, these are just mithetho yendlela nje that you have to know. Okay, so let's look at them, the different ones. Starting with towing, number one, right? So number one is towing. This rule has to do, or this section has to do, whenever we are towing each other, whenever two cars are coupled together, right, through something, whether it's a rope or a tow bar or whatever it is, right? So these are the rules that you have to follow. Number one, the person who's driving the car behind the towed vehicle must have a driver's license. And that license must qualify him or her to drive that motor vehicle. That's rule number one. So you can't take your code 8 license, drive a towed truck, for example, if it's the truck that's being towed. Okay. Next one is the towing distance. Most people, they know 3.5 here. They know this one, right? That the maximum, they don't even understand it. They just know that it's 3.5. Okay, so the maximum towing distance between two cars, it shouldn't pass to 3.5. That one will be correct, right? So you can't be passing with 3.5 when you guys are towing each other. Here's another one about towing distance. As soon as the towing distance between the two cars, as soon as it's more than 1.8 meters, you must put a safety marking, right? You put a safety marking to show these cars, they are coupled together, right? So we put a safety marking. It depends whether it's during the day or at night. During the day, you will see that we use a red flag. Always, whenever we use a safety marking during the day, we'll always use a red flag. And at night, we will always use reflectors because they reflect, right? They reflect the light. So yeah, at night would be using reflectors. So make sure that you understand from 1.8. If I ask you that if the towing distance is 2 meters apart between the two cars, true or false, must you put a safety marking? You must know. Yes, you must put a safety marking, right? So make sure that you understand the difference between the two. Let's continue there. Next one, speed limits. Speed limits, right? So whenever you show another vehicle maximum speed, if you are using a rope, if the material that you are using it's a rope, it's a tow rope, then you can't pass with 30 kilometers per hour. You are not allowed to travel faster than 30 kilometers per hour. If you want to travel faster than that, then don't use a rope, don't use a chain, use a solid bar. And an example of a solid bar, it will be a drop bar or top bar, right? So use something solid if you want to travel faster than this. And these it answers this question. Can someone with can two vehicles that are coupled together using a rope use a freeway now? Can they travel there? And the answer is no. Why? Because on freeway, normally the minimum speed is above that, right? Guma freeways or Guma highways, the minimum speed is normally above that. So if you are using a rope, you can't be using a freeway. You can drive on an ordinary road though, but not on a freeway. Next one, brakes condition. Here, what's the rule? If the vehicle that you are towing, it has some bad brakes, ayibreki kahle, right? Ayibreki. Again, use a solid bar. You cannot tow that vehicle ngerope, right? Or a chain. Anything that elastic somehow, right? You can't use that. You need a rod, something a rigid. njenge solid bar, right? So that when you brake, na brake ngemuva. About passengers here, you are allowed to carry passengers on a towed vehicle as long as you are not traveling again above 80 kilometers per hour, right? The only time you can travel faster than 30 is if that vehicle that is being towed, the one that's carrying those passengers, it's a semi-trailer. If it's not a semi-trailer, it's any other vehicle shouldn't drive more than 30. Towing limits. How many cars can you tow at a time? One car. How many trailers can you tow at a time? Two. These are maximum. I'm not talking about minimum. Maximum 1 if it's a car, maximum 2 if it's a trailer. That's it with AMA rules we're towing. Are we together? Cool. Next one, very important, following distance, right? This one, if you don't follow it, it's one of those that kill a lot of people on the road. And then when you open a radio left and right, when they are giving you tips about the road, they will tell you about this one. All right. So what's that rule? Is that whenever you follow someone, keep a distance as safe, right? Keep a safe following distance whenever you follow another vehicle. So let's dive deep and understand when is this distance is safe then. All right, for us to understand this, we're going to break this into two parts. One is if the conditions are favorable, right? And when the conditions are favorable, we are talking about a dry road. It's sunny outside. It's not raining. You are moving at a moderate speed to hambang about 30, 40, hambang speed is right. And the vehicle is not loaded, right? It's not loaded. Those will be examples of a favorable condition. In such conditions, if you are driving a light motor vehicle, follow a 2 seconds rule, right? Meaning keep at least 2 meters distance between you and the car that you are following. If it's a heavy motor vehicle, at least 3 meters. Follow a 3 seconds rule. So, yep, that's it with my favorable conditions. That's how we make sure that the distance it remains safe there. Under my unfavorable condition, it will be the opposite of what we made as some examples. Now the road is wet. You guys are traveling at a high speed like Uma freeways and stuff like that, right? So what do you do in that case? To make sure that you still maintain a safe following distance, what do? You increase the following distance that was stated lapa guma favorable condition, right? You increase it. So if it's a light motor vehicle, make sure that the distance is more than 2 meters. If it's a heavy motor vehicle, make sure that it's more than 3 meters, right? So how do you know Uguti now it's fine? How do you know Uguti I did maintain a safe following distance? It would be a distance that you are sure Uguti, okay, when I'm here, the person that I'm following, if he can suddenly stop, I bet he deck brake, right? When you will be able to stop without causing an accident, without swerving, right? So if you can achieve that under unfavorable conditions, then the distance that you kept between you and the other vehicle, it was indeed a safe following distance. But other than that, no. Right? So both in favorable conditions and unfavorable conditions, as stopping without swerving, it's what you must achieve. All right. Any mbuzo? Cool. No question? Okay. Next one, also important. My right of way rules, right? Here we want to know, Uguti, how do you know Uguti 10 gaban when you are driving, right? Whose 10 is it? Ubaneng mela hambe first, ubaneng mela alandel and stuff like that, right? And these rules, they will tell you about that exactly. So we'll start with our intersection. When we are in there, our intersection or our junctions, right? Intersection, junctions, our crossroad, all of those. How do you know ukuthi ubani bekumele ahambe first? If it's a stop, right? If it's a stop there, the car that is stopped first there is the first one that has to go, right? Leme a first, iyo ekumele ahambe first. It got there to that stop line first before everyone, then it's the first one to go. That's what happens then. This one they keep on forgetting, that's why it's in red, right? We are still talking about our intersection. We're still talking about our intersection. If you are turning right, all right, if you are turning right, you must yield to oncoming traffic. Yield the right of way to oncoming traffic. All right. So an example, it will be this. It's a crossroad and there's a robot there. For you, it said it's green. And for the other people that the oncoming traffic, it's also saying it's green, right? Who goes first? They go first. And when it's safe for you to turn, you can turn them. I don't see the screen. Yeah, man. Guys, can you help the one who doesn't see the screen? Google Meet. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's the first one, Guma intersection. You follow that, right? You follow that. Second one, now we are talking about traffic circles, right? Or roundabouts. Ninintandis gisisa say USA, right? Yeah, roundabouts. Right? So there are two types of roundabouts. They can be big or small. If they are small, we call them mini roundabouts. If they are big, it's just a traffic circle, right? So let's start with the small one, the mini one, right? It says the car that has crossed the yield line first. If it has crossed that yield line before you and entered that circle, let it pass, let it exit before you enter, right? So you prioritize it. You prioritize that car if it's a mini circle. When it's a big circle, because you can't see all four sides. Normally on a big circle, you can just only see where you are, right? You can't see all the four sides. So what do you see? You see, if you see a car that's within the circle and it's approaching from the right, within the circle and it's coming from the right, let it pass. Okay? Let it pass before you enter. Last one, it will be about my emergency vehicles here, right? So here we are talking about your ambulances, your rescue vehicles, firefighters, and all of that, right? If those type of vehicles are on duty, meaning they are sounding a siren or they are having those emergency lights on, give them a right of way. Let them pass. Let those vehicles pass. Yeah, that's it there. Any questions? Guys, did you help the one who was saying Agaboni screening? Because I did ask if you guys on Google Meets, can you see my screen? And then you said yes. Nomvuyeso, try to join. It's fine now. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So yep, those are the rules then. Those are the rules. Please make sure. Ebo. Welile, yes. You can't see the screen. Why? Why people cannot see the screen? Try. So how did you solve it? I don't know. Maybe you can advise, huh? Because it's the same problem. All right. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, man. But there is a tip that's saying press down on the names. So yeah, try that. Try that. All right, let's move on. See, fine, sharp, good. Let's move on. Um, Overtaking rules. Again, one of the important rules, very important. Even when you're gonna take your license, right? Your instructor will be looking at these things, whether you are obeying. That's why if you cheat, learners, if you just you are making, you think when you are taking a shortcut candy, next you are making matters worse, because yes, it's gonna be difficult to get that driver's license. Yeah, so try and understand these things. Overtaking rules. These are the rules that apply whenever we want to overtake, right? Whenever we want to overtake or when we are being overtaken. So we're gonna break it into two parts. Are you being overtaken or are you overtaking the other person? Starting with the first part, where you are the one doing the overtaking. When you do the overtaking, make sure that it is safe to overtake, right? Before you even take the action, just make sure that it is safe. How do we make sure? We have checked our surroundings. Oh good, yes indeed. When I'm looking at my rearview mirrors, the cars that are coming from the back and my side in, there's nothing there. Right? When I check a site in where I want to go, there's nothing there. So yes, I can overtake this car. It is safe, right? So you do that. That's rule number one. Only overtake when it is safe to do so. Number two, no overtaking on solid lines, right? I'm up barrier lines, those no crossing lines, no overtaking lines, channelizing lines, the ones that we are doing, Guma markings, do not overtake on those. Normally, what do they indicate? They indicate an area of the road where you have a limited view of the road, right? So should you try to overtake in that, chances of you getting accidents are very high, right? So we say if you do not see 150 and above, you have a limited view of the road. Aliko enough. So don't overtake kuma solid lines. No overtaking kuma pedestrian crossings. Sithe, ama pedestrians, they don't just cross the road anywhere where they like. They cross in these markings as good pedestrian crossing markings, right? There, do not overtake. If you find a vehicle, limile lapha, if it has stopped there because it's yielding or giving a right of way to our pedestrians, do not overtake it, right? Don't overtake. Next one, no overtaking on the shoulder of the road. I remind you again, sithe indlela, it has these two solid lines on the far edge and on the right edge, which they indicate would line la. If you want to drive within these, but do not go over these lines. Those lines were shoulders of the road. Don't drive over them, right? Do not drive over them. Maintain a safe following distance when overtaking. So now you have passed this car, right? You are overtaking it. You want to return to that lane, right? As you passed it, you want to return. When you return, remember the safe following distance, right? Don't return too close to that person such that if you were to brake suddenly, this person won't be able to stop, right? So still keep a safe following distance between you and the car that you just overtaken. Last one, if you are overtaking a stationary bus, meaning a bus emile, right? Emile there. Here, just be cautious, right? Just be cautious, be on high alert of the people who are boarding, who are taking the bus, or who are leaving the bus. As you overtake that, do not just overtaking a speed, overtake guys, right? Because those people you won't see them. If we are speeding, uzothi net nawuceda ukudlula umthole angale ngaphambili avela nayathi and then umshayise. So be cautious when you overtake such. All right, that was it with you overtaking other vehicles. The second part, it would be when you are being overtaken, right? Overtaking, it's happening to you now. What do? Keep left. If you want to allow someone else to pass you, keep left. Go to the left-hand side, right? Number 2, do not accelerate. Do not speed up, right? You want to let this person to pass you, right? Don't speed up. It's not a competition. Last one, it's if the type of a road, right? It's a single lane road, meaning when you are here and this car is here, all right, and they are closing, there's no other lane there, right? If it's a single lane like this and this person wants to overtake you, you are allowed to drive to the shoulder of the road. Can come this side, but for you to do this, these 4 conditions, they must hold, right? Those 4 conditions, they must hold. Let's look at those conditions. Number 1, again, obvious one, it must be safe, right? It must be safe for you. It must be safe for the people who are this side, right? Anyone who's walking there, maybe it should be pedestrians or whatever it is. It must be safe. You can't do it if there are people there. So if it's going to endanger anyone, don't do it. That's the first one. Number 2, it must be during the day, right? It must be during the day. Because during the day, we normally have much more visibility on the road. We see further. So it must be during the day. Number 3, it must, hey, so I already spoke about 3. Okay, number 4, you must have enough visibility, right? You must see at least 150 and above, right? 150 and above. So this one and I think number 2 and number 4, when you think about them, right? So during the day, you have enough visibility normally. It's unlike at night. Because at night, we are using dim lights. We'll see when we get to summer light. Dim lights are not allowed to show above 45 meters, right? So that means we have a limited view of the road. You cannot do that. So during the day, you can see more than 150, stuff like that. So those 4 conditions, they must hold for you in order for you to drive on the shoulder of the road. C sharp? So there were 3 rules when you were being overtaken. It's just that the last one, it had armor conditions underneath, right? It had armor conditions. All right, number 5, changing lanes. Whenever you move from one lane to another, these are the rules that you must follow. What do? You don't just move from a lane to, you don't just change it, right? What do? We do it in steps. Number 1, we indicate our intentions. So basically, the car has 2 lights, 2 types of lights. One is the ones that show your intentions to other road users. Right? And the other ones, ila asibonisayo thina support driver, right? The ones that we use to see the road, whether it's your dim lights or whatever it is. So, mawubreka, which type of light are you using? The one, your intention, right? You are showing those brake lights is ngemuva is the intention. So when you move to a lane, you indicate it's another light, look, combisa intentions. But I want to move to the other side, right? So those lights were never meant for you. You don't do that action and then, you don't act exactly. You just give them a buffer time so that the people that you are showing them using these lights, they are aware that you are taking that action. So if you are turning left or going to the right, do that. Indicate in good time. That's the first rule. Number 2, check on your rear view mirrors about surroundings, right? Check. Are there cars approaching from your back, side in and stuff like that before you go to that lane? If there are cars, don't move. Don't change the lane. Wait for them to pass up until it's clear. Then you do that. All right. Next one, it will be check blind spots, right? Check blind spots, and these would be the areas that were not visible here, right? The areas that were not visible on my review mirrors, those would be the blind spots. That's the last thing that you do, last step that you do. If all 3 hold, everything is fine, then you can change a lane. Say sharp. And I'm telling you, you see this one, I don't know. Where you keep on forgetting, especially practically, right? When you start teaching someone to drive Angeline, they keep on forgetting to indicate in good time. And you ask yourself, hey man, when's Alan? Right? So you do that. So don't just change lanes. That was it with changing lanes. Any mbuzo there on what we covered so far? All right, let's move on. Rules for a learner driver. Rules for a learner driver. So what happens as soon as you pass that learner's test? You're now called a learner driver, right? And these rules will govern you. These are the things that you have to know. Number one is that you cannot drive when alone. Kuma public roads. There must be someone who supervises you, right? And this person must have what? Qualification for that. What's that qualification? If when you have Vilenas code 14, that person must have a license code 14. Right? They've done it. They went through the process. They know. So I think you get it there. Number two, you can carry passengers. That's a learner driver. In fact, the person that we talked about was a passenger himself or herself, right? So yeah, you can have passengers. As long as not for money, I will be markets or something, right? Can have passengers. Lastly, your learner's permit will be valid for 2 years, right? Within these 2 years, you must transition from a learner driver to an ordinary driver. You must get your driver's license within these 2 years or 24 months, right? So yeah, that's it. That's it about the learner driver. Next one. Let's talk about broken vehicles on the road, right? You never know when your car will break on the road. But when it breaks, these are the rules that you're going to follow. Number one, remember, since you do not know when will your car break, so it is compulsory to have this guy, an emergency triangle, right? So we use it to indicate a broken vehicle on the road. Good, hey, my car has broken down, please, what, right? And then people will understand as they come. So you must have that. It's compulsory. If they say show it up, you must show it. All right, how do we use it? When we have it, you place it at least 45 meters at the back of the vehicle. Minimum at least 45 meters, right? And the last one here, it will be you are allowed to drive on the shoulder of the road. You are allowed to drive on the shoulder of the road when your car is broken. So you can make sure that you don't block the traffic by driving over the shoulder of the road, and then whether you change your tire or whatever it is, right? So those are the three ones. I think the fourth one, it would be every vehicle that's on the road. Every vehicle kumele ibe na this guy, right? So how many? I'm not repeating the first point, but I'm trying to tell you about how many emergency triangles you must have. Remember we said when you tow a vehicle, maximum it's one that you can tow, right? For two cars that are towing each other, those cars, at least they must have two emergency triangles. When you tow trailers, what is it? Maximum 2 trailers you can tow, right? Trailers, one trailer is considered as a vehicle. It must have its own emergency triangle. So 3 emergency triangle in that case will be there. One for the head, and 2 for the for those trailers, right? So, but if you are towing one trailer, just 2 trailers, 2 emergency vehicles. I mean, are we together there? Sisonke? All right. Okay, cool. Next one, rules about transporting goods or loads. Whenever you are conveying goods, mawunomthwalo, right? If you're gonna be transporting umthwalo, you never know, right? So whether we are tutor or kwenzalani, but if you are transporting umthwalo, these are the rules ekumele we understand very well, right? Number one, umthwalo wakho must not touch the surface of the road. Whenever you are transporting the load, it must not touch, whether it's gravel or tar road, whatever it is, it must not touch the surface of the road. That's first one. Number two, it must not hinder or hide or block the view of driver. Remember, driver kumele abone clearly, right? So that he can always know about my surroundings and all of that, right? So you must see clearly on your rear view mirrors. You must also see clearly on your windscreen there, stuff like that, right? So that's number two there. Another one here, loyo mthwalo must not, akumele uwe nje, right? Akumele uwe. It must be properly or securely fastened, right? Mele uboshwe kahle, such that angeke just uwe la endleleni, causing unnecessary accidents. So those are the first rules about carrying umthwalo. These ones, most people remember them. Even if they don't know them, they can guess them. Okay. Next one. These ones, it's the ones that give them problem. And they give them problems simply because some rules, they are full of numbers, right? I'll be telling you a lot of numbers here when you think, these numbers, they are not, I can survive without knowing Uguti 1.8 meters. If I'm towing someone, I must put a safety marking. I can survive without that. Then you are playing a dangerous game. Rules are difficult to such people, right? So put the effort to know numbers are tease, and stuff like that will be fine. So projection limits. When you are carrying that load, right? When you are carrying the load, that load cannot pass what limit, right? If uhlolile lo mthwalo, that's projection, right? Overlapping or protruding, right? So if it's overlapping or projecting or overlapping, what is the limit? What would be the limit? Let's start with the front. Talking about it's projecting on the front. It's projecting on the front. What's happening there? It cannot pass 300 millimeter. 300 millimeters in the front. It's not supposed to pass that. All right. At the back or at the rear, the projection says it cannot pass more than 1.8 meters. 1.8 meters not allowed at the back. On the sides, it will depend on the weight of the vehicle, right? The GVM. So if the weight is less than 12,000 kg, right? If the mass is less than that, then it's not allowed to project more than 2.5 meters aside. But if the mass of the vehicle is more than 12,000 kg, then umthwalo is not allowed to project more than 2.6 meters to the side. All right. Okay, now going up in terms of height. Here we're gonna look at two types of vehicles. One is a light motor vehicle. Second one, heavy motor vehicle. Let's start with heavy, right? I assume a lot of you are going to do code 10. So just understand, Uguti, the load cannot project more than 4.3 meters, right? And this length is measured from the ground, from that surface going up. The load is not allowed to project more than that. In terms of light motor vehicles, the load is not allowed to project more than half of the vehicle's height, right? So think about your Picanto, and then you are putting your bags there at the top of that Picanto or whatever it is, right? putting those bags at the roof of that. Measured from that roof going up, it shouldn't make a half of the vehicle side. Shouldn't be the size of going that and a half, right? Maximum height shouldn't maximum is half, it shouldn't pass that. Are we together there? I said, Mina, this one, a lot of people they tend to whether they forget it or they don't give much effort on it, I don't know, right? So if you don't understand, please ask. All right. Same thing happens towing. Remember towing, we spoke about the limit. The limit was 3.5 meters as a towing distance, right? That was the limit. And then we spoke about 1.8 meter. From 1.8 meter on that, you must put a safety marking, right? And then we use the reflex and stuff like that. The very same thing happens here, right? We spoke about limits. We are done with limits. Now we are talking about a safety marking, right? As soon as a load projects more than 150 millimeter a siding or more than 300 millimeter at the back, put a safety marking, right? It becomes compulsory for you to put a safety marking. And yeah, safety marking, just like that time, like I said, during the day you put a reflex, but this time we have a size on what is the size of this, right? So the size, it would be with 300 by 300 minimum, nothing less than that. 300 by 300 minimum, right? And at night, use some reflectors, like I said. So how do we use these reflectors? In the front, we use the white ones. Front, white ones. At the back, red ones. If the projection is happening at the back, use the red one. Side, use yellow reflectors, right? We use them at night. Reflectors to reflect light at night. We don't need reflectors during the day. Okay, that's it today. That's it. Let's look at this one. Sometimes they think that you are fastening there, right? Because we said it must be securely fastened. It's fragile. And then when it's fragile, we normally use things like a bracket to support that load, right? So we use a bracket. And when we use a bracket, they say those brackets, they shouldn't project more than 150 millimeter to the side. Where is this measured from? From your widest part of the vehicle. What's the widest part? My side mirrors, right? From your side mirrors, okay, they shouldn't project more than 150 millimeter. Yep, that's it with dama loads. Yes. No, during the day we always use a red flag. Flag is always red. Flag is red. What differs is the reflectors at night. Yes, when it comes to reflectors there, if the projection is happening in the front, use white reflectors. If it's happening at the back, use the red ones, and the Masaitin use the yellow ones. Cool. All right, next rules about hooters, right? Hooter of the vehicle or horn, right? So yeah, the primary use of a hooter or the purpose of it is to alert other road users of a potential danger, right? So you alert them. That's when you should be using a hooter, not like a taxi driver or us when we are getting married, right? We like using hooter for other reasons. But yeah, primary use of a hooter is this one. To get an attention of the other road user that you're about to collide with. Use it for that. Number two, kumele izwakale at least from 90 meters. Minimum 90 and above, right? So this is enough time for whosoever that you are hootering to react accordingly, right? So kumele bayizwe from that distance. You don't just hoot when you are here. You hoot while you say sekudeni. All right. Next one, the tone or pitch of that hooter must not change, right? There mustn't be a confusion between someone who's hootering and an emergency vehicle that is sounding a siren, right? We shouldn't be confusing you with sirens, thinking we are an emergency vehicle. So the hooter must have just constant tone, just one thing, beep beep, whatever it is, right? So something like that. So that's it. With these ones, I find people, they tend to know this fast, all right? It's not a problem. Next rules will have to do with accidents. These things happen on the road. Whether you are wrong or not, they happen. When they happen, which rules govern you? Which rules govern you? Okay? So here are the rules. You must stop immediately when you are involved in an accident. Stop immediately. Right? Rule number 2, check if there were people injured or killed in that. You must rush. If when you are fine, go and check others, right? Go and check if they are fine. Okay? In a case where you find someone is killed or injured, your first thing to do is not to call your family, but you call your emergency vehicles, right? Call ambulances, call traffic police and stuff like that. That's the first thing that you do. And since you have stopped this vehicle here, if it was a single road, for example, single lane road, and you are blocking traffic there, since ustopile wena ujahile uyocheck ukuthi umuntu wenzeni, you leave it there. You leave it there. Do not go and move it. Leave it where you stopped it up until you are instructed ukuthi manje ungayisusa. So what normally happens is that when the traffic officer get there, they will mark ukuthi okay, this is where the collision happened. Maybe you couldn't stop up until to this extent and stuff like that. I don't know what they use that information for, but yeah, they use it, right? So make sure you don't move that vehicle there. Okay. All right. In a case where no one was killed or injured, the following rules will govern you. Number 1, between you, someone knows. If someone acknowledges, good, I am the one who's wrong, I was not following you with a safe following distance, or I didn't indicate my intentions in good time and stuff like that, right? So you take that, and then he agrees, good, okay, I'm gonna fix it, or my insurance is gonna fix your car. What you have to know, when you guys have reached an agreement, you guys are in good terms here, right? Rules that you must make sure that you go and report within 24 hours, right? Go and report that accident within 24 hours. Shouldn't be more than that, right? And then in a case, because we are people, sometimes we don't agree, right? We like blaming others for our own actions. In that case, where there's a conflict, the other one's pointing the other one, the other stuff like that, what do? You call traffic police, right? Call them to resolve the issue, right? So yeah, what are the things that you cannot refuse to give when they come, those traffic police? You can't refuse to give them personal details or contact details. You can't, right? But the other person that you have collided with, you can refuse. It's okay. But to police, no. The other thing, you can't refuse to give them a sample, right? You can't refuse to give them a sample for them to check whether you are drinking and driving, right? Normally they take 2 types of samples, right? It's either they will take a breath sample or a blood sample, right? To measure whether you're drinking or driving. Those 2 things you can't refuse to give them. police, right? The traffic police. All right. Yeah. While you are there on the accident, do not take any drug, right? Do not take any pills or any drug substance just to calm nerve circle, right? Maybe to give stuff like that. Don't do that. Yep, that was it there. Are we together? Conning shield. All right. Next one. We are diving deeper to how that alcohol testing is done, right? We want to know, when are you at fault? When are you at fault? Where's done? Okay, like I said, there are two types of tests that they could be doing. It's either a blood or a breath, right? They make you blow into a device. That's a breath sample. So there are two types of drivers that are on the road. The first driver is an ordinary driver. Like I said, when you pass your test and get your license, you'll become an ordinary driver. Should you take it step further to say, hey, you know what, I want to transport goods for money, I want to transport people for money, then in that case you must get a PDP or professional driving permit, and you will be a second type of a driver, right? You are a professional driver then. Zobana, two licenses. All right, so two drivers on the road, two samples. So let's start with the first sample. How does it work? How does it work for an ordinary driver? Blood sample. If a blood sample was taken, an ordinary driver, when they measure alcohol emzimbeni wakhe, the concentration must be less than this number. It must be less than 0.05 grams, right? Per 100 milliliter of that blood. This is how much alcohol. It must be less than that. If it's less than that, you are sober. Anything from there going up, it means you're drinking and driving. How does it work for a professional driver? It must be less than 0.02 grams. Professional drivers, like I said, laba-ke babantu ababulala umphakathi, right? The rules are much more strict when it comes to a professional driver than they are to ordinary drivers. And that's one example, right? So if you are a professional driver, should they measure your alcohol level, for example, and then it says 0.03 grams, 0.03 grams, then they will give you a fine. But if you're an ordinary driver and it says 0.03 grams, you are okay. Okay? So that's it with the blood sample. The other one, breath sample. Breath sample, same thing. For ordinary driver, the alcohol level now must be less than 0.24 milligrams. 0.24 milligrams. It must be less than that if you are sober. And then for a professional driver, it must be less than 0.1 milligrams. Yep. Hey, alcohol questions. Olisile, can you mute, please? Alcohol questions, they normally chow people a lot, right? And I will tell you why. People who don't take this training, they normally know one or two, maybe these two. They never even understand how do they apply and stuff, like they don't. So which numbers should you know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? When we talk about the blood, we are talking about 100 milliliter. That's how much is being taken. And when we talk about the breath, we are talking about 1,000 milliliter. That's how much is taken. Song? Together? So make sure that you know those. Next one, review mirrors. Review. Okay, yes. Just know the whole thing. Just know the whole thing. If there's a number, yeah, know it. If there's a number, you see the numbers that I've bolded there, right? Know those. Any number that I mention here, make sure that you know it and understand it. Cool. All right, next. Rear view mirrors, like we said, these are your mirrors that show you at the back, right? So yeah, synonym of back is rear, right? We say rear at the rear. We are saying at the back. Okay, so rear view mirrors, Atinama rules. Since these mirrors show us at the back, Pella, when you are driving, you do not rotate your head to look at the back. Even if when you are reversing, I hope you remember that, right? You use these guys. I'm a review mirrors. So rule number 1, it's compulsory that you have them in a vehicle. They must be there. Rule number 2, how often should you check them? Every 5 to 8 seconds interval, right? Every 5 to 8 seconds. Make sure that you check ama review mirrors wako. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it today. That's it with those two. I have 3 minutes. Okay, let's close it. Ngama number plates. My rules about my number plates, right? All right. Atina my rules. Every motor vehicle that's on the road must have at least 2 number plates. One in the front and one at the rear, right? One in the front and the other one at the back. Minimum. You can have more than that, but minimum 2. The visibility and readability of those number plate, it must be easy to read them, right? It must be easy. Don't come with a number plate that has funny fonts, small fonts, stuff like that, right? It must be easy to read. I see everything. I see that's a P, that's an M and stuff like that, right? So they must be easy to read, right? And someone with a normal eyesight, onganankinga yamehlo, during the day, they must be able to read your number plate from that distance, from 20 meters. They must be able to tell you, good all where P, M, and what, from this distance, if they are 20 meters away, right? That's it, there. Next one, the background of those number plate. Like I said, easy to read. It means you can't come with a dark background, right? It cannot be made of a background that dark, like about maroon and stuff. Anything that's dark, right? Number plates should have a light background. And then according to SAPS, is it SAPS standard? This standard that we follow on how a number plate should be positioned, right, on the vehicle. Number 1, let's start by this. They must not be easily detachable, right? That's number 1. Number 2, when you put it, it must be upright, right? Upright. If it's not upright, if upright, if it's tilted, it shouldn't be tilted more than 30 degrees, right? It shouldn't be tilted more than 30 degrees. I think that's it. That's it. We together? All right. Last one. I think the last one, it will be AMA rules about the usage of a cell phone. Whenever we drive on the road, whenever we are driving, in fact, we will end on 15, okay? So whenever we are driving on the road, are we allowed to use a cell phone while driving? AMA rules are, you can use it. You can, funny enough, you can, as long you don't interact with it physically, right? Like when a war presser straight on that cell phone. As long as you don't do that, right? As long maybe if the call is coming in, you are answering a steering wheel, there's some technology there that allows you to answer from that. That's okay. You can have that as long you don't do the pressing, right? We need your hands for the steering wheel and changing gears. We don't need you to be interacting with the phone. So that's it. That's it with you interacting with the cell phone. Don't interact with the cell phone when you are driving, right? Do not. where if you're gonna use any part of your body. All right, yellow reflective materials, nice one to close with. Again, this one they keep on forgetting a lot of people, so it's one of those rules. I know if I give you a simulation test and it has this kind of ones, know that hi, you're shy. All right, so yellow reflective materials. Yellow reflective materials. When do we put them? When do we put them? I'll show you my yellow reflective materials if we have a time, but I see the time is not on our side. So yellow reflective materials, we put this whenever a vehicle is longer than 7 meters, right? If you put the back corner is longer than 7 meters, it becomes compulsory for you to put them. You put them at the sides and at the back, right? On a side and at the back. If we don't talk about we don't look at it in terms of length, we look at it in terms of GVM or gross vehicle mass. If your mass is more than the mass of the vehicle, it's more than 10,000 kg, it must put these guys, my yellow reflective materials, right? Yellow reflective materials, let me see before it cuts us. Okay, so let me just say track here and see what's happening. So yeah, we are talking about this, right? These reflectors here on this side, right? We are talking about this. Those are yellow reflective materials. Yeah, you see them at the back, you see in the front. So as soon as the vehicle, it is more than 7 meters, put them. As soon as the vehicle weighs more than 10,000 kg, put them. Becomes compulsory. If you don't follow that, it's a fine. Just like any rule. If you don't follow any rule that we have mentioned, it's a fine. All right, guys, that's it for today. That's it for today. We'll take it from there tomorrow. Please complete our videos. All right? Please complete our videos. All right. Have an amazing night. See you tomorrow then.